Hi, I'm Susan Brown from Light Life Learning, and this morning I'll be interviewing Sandra Rea, and we're going to be talking about what is true prosperity and how to achieve it. Sandra Rea turns your suffering into ease, your pain into relief, and your confusion into clarity. She is the Zen deity of transformation. She enables you to get your life back on track with a measure of energy healing, a dash of guidance, and a hint of magic. She's also known as the author of Angel's Aid, Guided Meditation for Children and Parents. And Sandra is a good friend of mine. Good morning, Sandra.
Hi, Susan. It's lovely to chat with you today.
Yeah, you too. Great to see you. So I'm going to ask you a little bit about the prosperity. So how would you define prosperity, Sandra?
Yeah, well, it's something that I think if you ask people, what is prosperity or what does prosperity mean to them, it's something that people will answer about money, they'll answer about wealth, they'll say, it's having an abundance of money, it's having an abundance of wealth. But really, true prosperity is so much more than that. And the wealth part, of course, that is needed and that's necessary, but that's only one part of the pie. And I think we're really missing out on all those other parts. And for me, true prosperity is, the money freedom, the wealth. It is also, though, family freedom, the, ability to spend time with your family, to have time freedom to do the things you want to do the things you love to do. It's the freedom to be who you want to be and not feel that you have to play a role in your work or in relationships, and having the freedom to truly be and express your truth of who you are. It's the freedom to be in that relationship that you really want and not feel that you have to settle or that you have to compromise, or that, if you are already in a relationship, that you don't have the freedom to get out of that relationship if it doesn't work for you. So it's all of those things. It's the money for sure, but it's, the time, the relationships, the career, having the work that you love. And when you put all of that together, it equals true prosperity. It's the prosperity to have a full life that is overflowing with prosperity and abundance in all areas, not just on the money side. So yeah, I think it's really important because a lot of people are mixing it up. They're thinking that they have one of those aspects and they believe that they're prosperous, and they don't have the insight or the clarity to realize that true prosperity is really something else.
That's so true, isn't it? Because somebody could be earning loads of money on a really well-paid job and feel absolutely trapped and unhappy.
And that's really, for me, that's what I'm passionate about. I'm really passionate about letting people understand that true prosperity isn't just about, working in a job that you feel stuck in or trapped in. It's about being your own boss if you want, or else working in a job or a career that you really love, that is something that you're really passionate about, and allowing yourself to have that freedom. Because I think when we say to ourselves, oh, well, I have to work in this job because that's what I'm trained at, I don't know anything else. It's really just an excuse, because we're afraid to do something else because we don't know what to do, or we're afraid to step out of our comfort zone. And that's a big thing, stepping out of comfort zone for a lot of people when they've trained in a certain area and that's all they know. It feels comfortable, even in their discomfort, even in their dislike of that job.
Better the devil you know kind of thing.
Exactly. So it feels comfortable to be in a job that they don't like, even though it's sucking the life out of them, even though it's like a soul crushing job. And they might say, oh, well, I have this big salary and I have, the car, and I have all the things that, all the material things that people today might view as prosperity. But of course, if you're going to a job that you hate, and if you are spending your days wishing you were doing something else, if you're dreaming about, being out in nature, or if you're dreaming about, playing sport or dreaming about spending time with your family, but instead you're sitting in an office or working in a place that you feel, you're just slowly, it's sucking your energy, it's sapping you. You're coming home at the end of the day feeling like you have no energy left. Then that for me is not true prosperity. That's a false prosperity. And even you might call it a form of poverty, a first world poverty, if you will, that we feel that we have to stay stuck in these jobs and these careers that are a little bit they have no meaning for us. And we feel we have to stay there. We feel trapped, as you said, in these careers. And it doesn't have to be a job. It can be, as I said, a relationship that you feel trapped in. It can be feeling that you're blocked in some way and not able to express yourself or express your truth. And it's just enabling yourself to become aware of what's going on in your life and how you can begin to change that.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. And tell me, what is the first step to achieving true prosperity, would you say?
Well, that's the very thing. So the awareness part is key. If we're not aware that we're living in this lack situation, then we can't change it. So I would ask people to, first of all, to take a look at their lives and be really honest with yourself. Be really clear about what it is you want and what it is that you have in your life. So if you are working in a job where it isn't satisfying, it isn't fulfilling, it isn't something that you're really, really passionate about. And I'm not talking about a job where, oh, it's fine, it's a good job and the people are nice and I enjoy it most of the time. That's not good enough. It's being really, really passionate about what you do. Mm-hmm. And I think we've all been there. We've been in those jobs where we say, well, there's some parts of it I like, and this part I'd really miss that if I wasn't doing that. Or I really love the interaction with the people around me, and the people I work with are great. And that's all fine. But it's realizing that on some level you have an inner calling. There's some part of you that's pulling you to be and do and achieve more. And when I talk about achieving more, I'm not talking about achieving more success. I'm talking about achieving your life purpose, which is different to success as we know it. So yeah, it's just being really honest, becoming aware of the parts of your life where you're limiting yourself, where you're not experiencing true prosperity. And if you're in a job that you love and you're passionate about, great. But do you have the time to be with your family? Do you have the time to do all the things you want to do? Do you have that time freedom that we all should have and need? And if you don't have that, how do you need to change things? Mm-hmm. And, again, relationships, do you have the freedom within your relationship to be yourself, to express yourself, to not feel that you have to act or play a role within that relationship? And looking at all the areas of your life, there's creative freedom as well. Do you have the ability to express yourself creatively, it could be through a hobby or through a sport or through, singing or anything that you'd need to do to express yourself creatively. And that could be through your career as well. Maybe you express yourself creatively through your career, but it's just really analyzing all these areas, all these parts of the prosperity pie, so to speak, and putting them all together and, taking off, okay, well, I have the relationship, I have, all the love and abundance and the relationship that I love. And it's not just a romantic relationship. It can be, the relationship with your family, your parents, your siblings, the relationships with your friends. So it's not just one aspect of relationship, it's all aspects of relationship. Mm-hmm. And just really going deep into it and becoming really aware, getting really clear on where it is you're feeling lack or that you're feeling dissatisfied with parts of your life. And once you're clear on that, then you can begin to make change. Then you can begin to move forward from that. Okay, so that first step, it's really like, for a lot of people, it might be like taking your head out of the sand.
or just getting really honest and looking at, you know, those areas of your life. So what would you say is the next step?
Yeah, so once you've become aware, then it's being able to, it's admitting it to yourself is obviously the next part of it. And then admitting that you want change. And once you decide that you want change, then you can begin to move forward. But as I said before, so many of us are happy in our discomfort that we fear change on a deep level. And if that's the case for some people, it's okay. You know, it's not to berate yourself, or it's not to judge yourself for that. It's to know that it's okay to fear change and to be in a comfort zone where you feel that you know, might die if you go outside that comfort zone. Yeah. Obviously that's very extreme, but to know that you're not going to die, and if anything, once you step outside that comfort zone, you will expand into yourself. Because what happens is when we're in a comfort zone, it's like we're contracting, we're drawing into ourselves. And when we step outside that comfort zone, when we start expanding, it feels different, it feels new, it feels a little bit uncertain. And we're thinking, what's going on here? I don't like the feeling of this. I'm going to contract back in. Mm-hmm. And if you can get past that initial feeling of, oh, I don't like this, I don't know what's going on, and allow yourself to keep expanding and growing, then that's when you get into that part where suddenly you begin to experience joy, you begin to experience success, fulfillment, happiness, and inner peace. And it's not just, you know, a joy or a happiness that comes and goes. It's an inner joy that stays with you because you know that you're living your life on purpose, you're living your purpose, and you're expressing yourself in the way that you want to. And you are accepting the prosperity that is your divine right, because we are all entitled to live an abundant and prosperous life. Not just entitled, but that's the natural way of things. Mm-hmm. If you look at nature, I mean, you know, you only have to go out and spend some time in nature to realize how abundant nature is. Mm-hmm. And that's its natural state. And, you know, it's like if you ever leave your garden over the summer to grow, and it'll just grow and grow and grow. And it, you know, there's no boundaries. You know, you might build fences, or you might have a flower bed, and it'll overflow the flower bed if you let it. And, you know, I think nature has so much to teach us in that regard, that nature just keeps growing and expanding, and there's always more. And it seems that it's us that are the ones who are living in this contracted state where we're kind of keeping ourselves in so-called comfort zones, mm-hmm. which really is just kind of closing the shutters and keeping ourselves in a sort of state that is so, it's not uncomfortable enough to escape it, but you don't want to wait until it gets to that point where it's so uncomfortable, that the discomfort is so great that you have to change. You want to change before you have to change. You want to be the one who initiates change, mm-hmm. because it will come to a point where that discomfort will grow so much that you will have to make a change. And we see that through people when they might experience mild symptoms of pain or anxiety, mm-hmm. and it'll start to show up in their body. And, you know, I see it with clients all the time. They'll come with maybe a pain in their shoulder or something going on, and it's really stress they're holding in their shoulders and anxiety, or they might experience back pain. And it's just those emotions that your body is saying to you, okay, here's a little indicator that something's not right, you need to do something. And if we take painkillers, or if we try to escape the pain, then we're not learning from our body. We're not learning what that pain is about.
Getting to the root cause of it.
Exactly. So we treat the symptoms, but not the root cause. And if we can tune into what's going on, what is causing the pain that's coming up, we don't have to get to the stage where we become ill or sick because we're not paying attention. So yeah, I'm really passionate about that side of it, about, you know, looking at our lives deeply, becoming aware, and then being brave enough to initiate change where needed. so that we don't have to wait until we're in that horrible state of uncomfortableness and we have to change.
That's it. And I suppose one question we could ask ourselves is, if I was on my deathbed and looking back, is that really the way I wanted to live my life? Was that me living my true purpose?
Mm.
You know, I don't even know why we call it a comfort zone, because it can be pretty uncomfortable, I guess. Like you're saying, the more you stay in it, the more uncomfortable it gets, and people become ill, and start to get pains and things like that because of the stuff that's going on.
I think sometimes, I talked about the awareness part. That's the thing, that people don't even realize that they're living in discomfort. They know that they're not quite satisfied, or that their lives aren't as full as they might like them to be, but they don't realize the level of discomfort that they're in, because it's become their new normal.
Okay.
And it's only when we can step outside of that for a minute and experience, true happiness and true joy, that we realize that's not normal. That's very unnormal to be in that state. And once we start to dip into those states of, prosperity, abundance, true pleasure and happiness, then if we find ourselves going back, or if we find ourselves trying to fit into that comfort zone again, we know that that's not where we want to be. And I'm sure you've probably experienced that as well, where that's not, you don't want to go back there. You want to keep moving forward. And even if there's some slight fear or discomfort, you know that working through that will lead to even greater joy and greater openings and greater happiness.
Definitely. I mean, I left my day job that I've been in for 13, 14 years. I'd always been paid a salary. And when I left it, I had moments of fear. I'd wake up in the night sometimes and think, oh my gosh, what am I doing? But it was faith, I suppose. And just like you say, just expanding into that new way and trusting that doors will open. And what other things would you recommend to help people get through that kind of anxiety or worry when they make a change?
So for me, what I find more and more and more is when I sense that voice of fear coming up, when I sense myself pulling back and, as I was saying, contracting into myself, that is exactly the point where I have to force myself, and sometimes it is forcing myself, to do the very thing that I'm contracting from. Okay. And, I'm not talking about walking out of your job and having no plan and, just say, okay, it's not necessarily about that. It is taking, becoming aware, tuning into what it is that you want and you don't want, and then taking action despite the fear. So when we have that fear coming up, it's a really good indicator that we're going in the right direction, because it's like we break through that glass barrier, and on the other side, it's like there's relief, there's joy, there's freedom. It's like, oh, this actually isn't as bad as I thought. And in fact, it fills me up.
Yeah, it feels really good. Yeah.
And always when there's a fear like that coming up, when I find, and I'm not talking about big fears like a fear of heights or a fear of flying or, those type of fears. I'm talking about a little fear where we might have like this little niggling voice inside us saying, don't do that thing, or, don't reach out to that person, or don't express yourself in that way. That's the very point where I have to express myself in the way that I fear, or reach out to the person who I might not be comfortable reaching out to. So it's just those little small steps, and noting that voice of fear in your head and then expanding into it, taking action and expanding into it.
Wonderful. Okay. So what one thing can people do right now to begin to move towards true prosperity?
Yeah, so it's really important, like we said, to become aware. And I think that is the first thing. So you can get a pen and paper out, you can do it right now, or they can do it after this when they've watched it. But just list on your pen and paper, put down a list of headings at the top and put down career, time, money, relationship, put down all of the things that are important to you. So if there's something else that's important to you, like list all of those key headings. You know, it could be creativity, it could be spirituality. You know, there's spiritual prosperity as well, where we step into our spirituality more and more. So list all those key headings and then draw lines, and below them, split the page in half. And on the top half, just write out all the areas where you feel, you know, you're not happy, or there's fear coming up, or there's something that you'd like to change in each of those sections. And then at the bottom half of the page, just list, you know, one word things that you can do to begin to initiate change. So if you find that you're in a relationship where you feel that you're not expressing yourself as you would like to, you can then put talk more, or be more open, or commit to saying just even one little sentence that you might fear saying, and just commit to doing something every day just to step towards that person who you want to become and that state that you want to have. So these are really, really small steps, but it's all the small steps that add up to the bigger picture. So just begin to write down all the little ways that you can begin to expand into this true prosperity in all the areas of your life. And if you do that one small step, you begin to notice significant change, because you're committing to making a change, and you're committing to living a life of true prosperity. And that takes courage. And it's not to say that it's going to be plain sailing and it's all going to happen overnight. But once you step onto that path, once you decide, yes, I want it all, and I'm prepared to have it all, and I deserve it all, then you will begin to walk that path. And it is just one small step at a time.
Yeah, and that's the reassuring part, isn't it? Because sometimes we can have these big dreams and we think, how on earth am I going to get there? But it literally is just one foot in front of the other, isn't it?
Exactly. And I think we forget that. We see, you know, the end goal, and we think, okay, well, that's far too big for me to even dream about. And I don't even want to go there because I know that I can't achieve that. And when we're looking, of course, we have to have that end goal in sight, but, you know, we take those small steps towards it, which makes it really, really easy. Well, probably simple, maybe not so easy, but it can be easy if you choose to just take one small step at a time rather than biting off big chunks.
Yeah, great. And so anything else people can do to begin experiencing true prosperity?
Yeah, so if, you know, somebody's listening and this has really resonated with them, if you're feeling, yeah, okay, I've had enough of the life where I'm settling, where, you know, I am not living my purpose, I'm not expanding into my potential, and, you know, they feel that they want to move forward. Of course, you can begin to do that by doing exactly what I was saying, making the list and start working on it yourself. But if you feel that you need help, if you feel that you need someone to guide you in the process, then I am available to help people to do that, to share, you know, the tips I've learned, the techniques I've learned. And I work through energy healing and through mentoring, but also through powerful guided visualizations and practices that I know that have worked for me and enabled me to leave my job, like yourself, that I was in for years and years, and to step onto this path of living a life of purpose and possibility, to doing the things that I love to do, and having all of those parts lined up so that I can really, you know, just live the life that I want. And I want to share that with people, because I think that there are so many people who are ready to do that and who just need that little bit of guidance, sometimes a little bit of a push, but, you know, just that guidance in the right direction. Because if you're doing it on your own, yes, of course, it is possible, and so many of us has. But like you know, like myself, we've all had our mentors and we've all had our teachers who we've learned from.
Yeah.
and it has speeded up the process greatly. And I think that's really important, to learn from others and to learn what they've done right, but also what they've done wrong, and
Yeah.
allow us to learn from that and to speed up our process as well.
Fantastic. So how do people get in touch with you? Could you tell us your website and any social media or any other contact details that you want to share with listeners just now?
Yeah, so my website is angelicbodies.ie, and I'm also on Facebook. It's facebook.com/Sandra Rea, or EA. And yeah, they can get in contact with me via the website or on the Facebook page. And if they want to learn more, they can schedule a Skype call with me, a free introductory Skype call,
Great.
or even a sample healing where they get a taster of a healing session, just to begin to see if they want to work with me in my energy, and to allow them to get a taste of what that's like.
Wonderful. There's lots of really good opportunities for people there to try things out.
Mm.
Yeah,
And
great,
I
Sandra.
think that's important as well, because when you're working with somebody closely like that, it's important that you connect with them and that you feel that there's a match energy wise, and that it's somebody who you can trust and who you can know that you can move forward with.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant. Okay. So, Sandra, it's been absolutely wonderful talking to you this morning. I've really enjoyed it and I've really learned loads. And
Thank you.
you're welcome. My pleasure. And so we'll talk to you again soon. And thanks so much again.
Thanks, Susan. So lovely.
All right. Bye for now.
Bye.